Hey guys, I'm Tyler and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to organize this area over here, which is where we charge our phone with this sweet maple charging station that features wireless charging hidden underneath the wood. This project is going to be built completely with solid maple, and this maple is all scrap. I didn't purchase anything special for this project, besides the hardware obviously, but this maple was left over from the kitchen bar stools, kitchen bench, and kitchen table. I started by ripping them down to 6 inches on the bandsaw so that I could get them on my 6 1/8 jointer. The boards were still a little bit wider than the jointer, so I had a little bit of a lip left over, and I just hit that quickly with a hand plane, and then moved back over to the bandsaw to resaw these pieces down to about 3/8 of an inch. By resawing on the bandsaw, I am saving a ton of material by not planing it all down and throwing all those shavings away, and I honestly think it's quite a bit faster to do the resaw on the bandsaw and then move over to the planer to get down to your final thickness. And finally over to the planer to bring everything down to its final thickness of 1/4 of an inch. I then ran everything over the table saw to bring it down to its final width, and this width was determined by my model that I had drew up, which I do for pretty much all of my projects, so that I only have to cut once. When I have a bunch of little pieces like this, I always like to mark them off with the component number from my drawings so that I don't get things all mixed up. I then brought all the pieces over to the miter saw station to cut them down to their final length. There is one special cut that needs to be made back on the table saw, and that is going to be a bevel put on the one piece that is going to actually hold the phones and the wireless charger. Once that is cut down to its final thickness with the proper angles, it is time to lay out where the wireless chargers need to go for your particular phone. To get that alignment, I took my phone, which is an S8, and shimmied it around to get the proper alignment. Once I had that, I marked it out on the back and then used a 1/2 inch flat bit on the router to cut out pretty much all of the material except for somewhere between a 1/16 and an 1/8 of an inch in front of the wireless charger. The joinery for the outer frame of this wireless charging station and the drawers that go in it is all going to be 1/4 inch box joints, and I used my box joint jig, which is a John Hayes design, which I made several years ago now, to make all of these cuts. This jig is super accurate, repeatable, and is a joy to use every time. For smaller pieces like the little drawer pieces, I've made this little clamping jig that actually clamps to the box joint jig, and this allows me to get good pressure way down at the bottom there without sacrificing my nice clamps. Once all the box joints were done, it was time for a quick sanding to get any tear out of the way, and then it was on to the assembly. This video has been sponsored by Audible, and it couldn't be a more fitting sponsorship because a great reason why you should keep all of your devices charged is so that, like me, you can listen to audiobooks on your drive to and from your real job and while you're doing some less exciting things in the shop, like maybe sanding. If you want to start your free 30-day trial, visit audible.com/DIYTyler or text the code DIYTyler to 500-500. With that 30-day trial membership, you will get a free audiobook and you will get 2 Audible original titles. Audible originals are exclusive titles created by celebrated storytellers from worlds diverse as theater, journalism, literature, and more. Again, if you want to start your free 30-day trial, text the code DIYTyler to 500-500 or visit audible.com/DIYTyler. Right now I'm listening to a title by David Baldacci. It's a great murder mystery story and I like that kind of stuff. But with the Audible app, I can go back at any time that I want to my library and listen to my all-time favorite book, which is The Martian by Andy Weir. A great story that will get you thinking about possibilities in the future and just as a relaxing good time. Now let's finish up this project so we can get my devices charged. Once the outer frame and the drawer was assembled, these were the box joints, it was time to move on to putting the shelves in place, and these are just held in place with butt joints and wood glue. The panel that holds the wireless chargers and the phones is also simply held in place with wood glue. Once all of that assembly was complete, it was back to a little bit of sanding to make sure all of those finger joints or box joints are nice and flush. As with most of my projects, this is custom built for a certain situation, and this is going to be overhanging the backsplash ledge of our countertop. So I cut out this groove using the table saw and the jigsaw, and this is going to allow it to sit up snugly against the wall. This charging station is also going to straddle over a receptacle, and because of that we wanted to transfer some USB power for charging other things like baby monitors or maybe additional phones that might be in the house. So I'm going to be adding a 7-port USB charging device. I cut this device hole out using the jigsaw. For this finish I'm going to be using General Finishes enuro-var in a semi-gloss sheen. This is the first time I've ever brushed this finish, and I honestly wouldn't recommend it. It was kind of hard to get even coverage and smooth coverage. The best way to apply this finish is with an HVLP sprayer, and honestly, it probably would have been faster even with the cleanup. I kick myself every time. The USB charger is held in place with a little bit of double-sided tape and the friction fit of that nice cut. And the wireless chargers are held in the back with a couple dabs of hot glue. You can see there are a couple additional USB cables. I did end up drilling some holes to allow the USB-C cables to slide through. In case the wireless chargers didn't charge fast enough, we can slide a cable into place and go back to the typical USB charging. I always love it when a project works out perfectly based off my SketchUp model and it slid right into place, straddling that counter backsplash just right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hammer that thumbs up button, subscribe, and hit that bell while you're at it so you never miss when we upload a new video. I'm DIYTyler, and you guys have a good one. It never gets old.